I was just about to be like, we should start the show all completely straight faced and not try to make any facial expressions, but I couldn't communicate that fast enough. So instead, we're starting the show like that.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison. Welcome to my weekly meltdown, where we definitely live up to the name. And yeah, we're a special show tonight. It's been a minute, so we're doing a BS breakdown, BS meltdown. I don't even know what it's
Did
called.
you say BS meltdown? Because that sounds a little bit like what you just went through.
True. Do you want to explain to the class what just happened?
Okay, so hello everyone, Rory in the chat and Heather G, everybody. There's an argument, there's a poll, there's somebody who needs to do a documentary or something, but you cannot confuse dog shit with cat shit, especially when you step in it or it's in your car. Dog shit and cat shit does not smell the same. Okay, it is not the same. Nothing. It's not the same.
Can you describe the differences of the two shit smells?
Are there like earthier tones?
Well, the dog shit always has extra grainy, some crap in it.
Looks like really, really chunky.
Just
Dijon mustard.
It's just gross.
Like kind of green.
Someone stepped in a dog turd and won't own up to it and won't let me look at the bottom of any shoes in the house. I'm not naming names, but his name rhymes with hiss.
JoJo's?
And so, where'd you take your shoes? Check my shoes. First of all, why would I have dog shit on the bottom of my shoe? Unless the one time I go outside to get the mail, unless somebody walked a dog and they took a dump in my driveway and I just didn't see it. And trust me, I would have noticed right away.
Almost immediately if you've stepped in dog poop too. Like I feel like you take 5 steps and you're like, my shoe is
when I was in New York, the first day I was there in my brand new slide-on Skechers, I stepped in dog shit. And I even said to Tyler, I stepped in dog shit. And the minute you do it, because you're walking on normal gravel, then all of a sudden it's real soft where you slide a little bit. It's like,
you're like, this feels good. Wait a minute.
It's a little weird. Yeah.
Sliding right here. Oh, it's fucking dog shit that I keep putting farther and farther into the bottom of my shoe.
And then it gets in like the little grooves, which are like impossible to get out.
Well, I've learned.
Well, I want to take a pause right there, actually, Allison, because I love that happened on the first day of your New York visit. And about day 3, you came to stay at one Beth Dixon's place. And you wore your shoe. I am a big person who takes off shoes at the door. I've always have been, but especially in New York City. And Allison walked in with her shoes, and I always have that moment where I will go up to my friends and say, could you please, put your shoes at the front of the door? Allison, what did I say?
I didn't get that pleasantry.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I got, hey, Allison, do you think you could take your shoes off? Because, New York City.
Okay, that's true.
I had completely dug the dog shit out of my shoe. I had borrowed Q-tips from Tyler. And I actually showed him a trick. I don't even know if he remembers it on how to do it. I've stepped in enough dog shit. I could kill someone and the judge would not convict me. A jury would get it. It's happened enough. I'm an expert.
That's a great thing to say on a public platform on the internet.
This is also, I don't know how this is related. Why? Because you can identify dog shit? Wait, what?
No, I've stepped in enough dog crap.
That they wouldn't punish you?
They would feel sorry for me.
Oh, I was not getting that.
It would be a righteous kill.
Weird legal.
Yeah, so if Allison's on the stand, right? Like they're trying to decide what they're she should be convicted of unaliving somebody, and she's like, "Listen, I've stepped in so much dog shit throughout my entire life. I need to be innocent here." I would be convinced if I were on the jury. Yeah.
Roy Sketcher's memory foam felt a little different. It's a little lighter on one side. It has to do with look, I'll just put it to you like this. I see these dog owners out, y'all prancing around, walking your little dogs, and you got your little leash, and in your hand there's a little bag hanging, and you're walking and walking and walking, and then you pick up the shit and you put it in the bag, and then you put it in the trash. Like, it's not that hard. I used to babysit a teacup terrier named Gizmo.
Time out. Literally this big?
He was a teacup. He was teeny tiny. Y'all remember Gizmo?
Do I?
What? How would I know? I don't know you from way back when.
This was 2019.
I joined you in late 2019. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay,
I don't
look, here's the
remember.
thing. Look, even in my own backyard, when it wasn't required, I had a tiny little Ziploc bag because the
But you
turds
kept
of
the
that
dog
tiny.
in that was super tiny?
What?
Is that what
What?
you said? Is that what you kept the dog in? Was this tiny bag?
No, because see, what happened is I took the dog in the backyard and I let him shit in my backyard, and I had a tiny little Ziploc snack bag because the turds were that small, and I just picked up the little turd in it and I Ziplocked it, put it in the trash. It's not even a requirement in my backyard because nobody's walking in it but me, and I don't even walk in my backyard. I'll go outside. So look, here's, I don't want to talk about dog shit for an hour, but
Hey.
but it's just like, I don't care if you did it. There's two people in this house. Archie was here today, 6 months old. He didn't wear shoes.
I love that Archie. I love the idea that it's just that he doesn't have shoes, that he doesn't wear shoes. It's not that he can't walk.
Yeah.
It's just, well, he doesn't have shoes.
Dog shit will find a shoe. It doesn't care what it's doing. If it wants to be on the bottom of that shoe, it's going to be on the bottom of the shoe.
I like
That's
the
true.
idea that a dog's just shitting on a baby's foot, like while they're wearing sneakers, like in a little chair.
Cloud came in for a minute. He didn't even have shoes on. His mom carried him in. She didn't even go anywhere. I mean, I don't know. I all I know is I'm having to soak half my little vacuum.
I have a
And-
question.
Not happy about it.
Can you roll the tapes back and see who's the person who walked
yeah,
in?
that's true. He's the poopatrator.
Thank you, Corey. Let me tell you something. That is rough. But here's the thing. No, I can't, because see, you guys don't listen to me. Nobody listens to me. I don't have my cameras on all of the time.
You should, though.
I didn't have it. I had the grandbabies this weekend. When I have people over, I turn the cameras off because I turn my indoor security cameras off because I don't want to invade their privacy. So I turn it off, and I turn the camera completely around, and I even go, look, that's where I unplugged it. See, you can see. So you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable.
I think you need
okay.
to. I think you need to move way far and actually put one of those signs that says, "By entering my property, you are being recorded." Like have one of those things.
I was gonna say, like, is there like a red light for these cameras? Like, would they know that it's recording?
Oh.
If it's the red light is on, that means it's not connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If the single blue light is on, that means it's recording. And if multiple blue lights are on around it, like a little wreath, then that means it's just connected to the internet.
Gotcha. Okay. I do have some news for you that our friend of the show, Brett, sent me. He said Allison's going to be irate when she hears this announcement after learning he didn't wish to help on the Lost documentary. And Beth, since you're here too.
Hold on. Is this Matthew Fox?
Yeah. So Matthew Fox is the latest addition to the cast of the Yellowstone spinoff, The
Of course
Madison.
he is.
And this picture of him, he looks like very malnourished. Like, I'm concerned for his health here.
That's what he should have looked like on Lost.
I mean, Allison, the fucking island doesn't operate, okay? There's like healing shit, and you don't lose weight, but you do lose weight. It's whatever the convenient to the writers that week.
So what you're telling me is Matthew Fox couldn't take time out of his busy schedule to be interviewed
Busy.
for a show that was a major staple in his career. And he just got cast in the new Yellowstone spinoff, what is this, number 9? I don't even know how many Yellowstone fucking spinoffs there are.
I didn't know they had
1923,
This
spin-offs
one
1889.
is what, like 702?
Yeah, what did you say? The Madisons or something?
The Madison, yeah.
The
I've
Madison.
never heard of this. Yeah.
Look, they've got one coming out. I know the one 1923 has Harrison Ford. And I watched it. It was pretty good. I watched 1884 with Tim McGraw and Faith Hill McGraw.
One of my mom's good
was
friends
good.
from high school is the costumer for 1883 or whatever it is.
She did a great job. That was a great show. However, I cannot watch the regular Yellowstone. I have tried,
Mm.
and I Chris and I, we've tried, and it's just not. I don't know. I just can't do it. But I can watch I'll watch the spinoffs. They've got like 1883, 1923, the regular one. I think they're going to have one in the 80s. And then they got one coming out that's in like the 2023. And I'm like,
That's why I
wait a
thought
minute.
it'd be funny if they did like
Whoa.
1703, and you're like, it wasn't even America yet.
Yeah, but they've got one coming out that's 2023. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was last year. What does that have to do with anything? It's so confusing.
When does Yellowstone take place? 2013?
Now, just now? I don't know. I feel like I'm in Spaceballs and I'm trying to explain. Now. This is the now. When
May the
did it
short
happen?
be
Just
with you.
then.
But yeah, I was just
hour
as
and a
annoyed
half.
when I saw that news. I was like, really? Like he has time to do this like shitty spinoff when he hasn't done like any acting in like years. And he
takes
can't
after
even do
his
the Lost
character.
documentary.
He's a piece of shit.
He's doing yoga, and he's a vegan apparently, because that screams I do yoga every gosh damn morning, and I practice Kama Sutra, and I'm a vegan.
Honestly,
While
I think
listening
we
to
should
Sting.
all practice Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that.
What is Kama Sutra?
Hold on a second. You're listening to the search. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Wait. Can we wait a second and not answer that question and have the chat respond in wrong answers only of what the Kama Sutra is for a
Kama
few
Sutra.
minutes? I want to see like Rory and people come up with wrong
Rory and
answers only.
Heather.
What is the Kama Sutra? And we will come back to that when we start getting answers.
He's Googling
I
it.
think
He's
that would be
cheating.
funny.
Are you cheating?
Kama No.
I just
Don't
want
you
you
think
to know
that'd
I
be
can
funny,
see your
Allison,
monitor.
to see what people are going to come up for Kama Sutra?
Kama Sutra.
I can
Have you
see
not heard that before?
I don't think so. No. Is this like a common? I don't even know if it's like. Is this like a sport? Is this like
Well, it depends.
a yoga pose?
Stretch.
Like
I
I
would
don't
say
know.
stretch.
Yes to both of those questions.
I feel like I'm playing that Nickelodeon game show. Figure it out. Like I need like that like
Ooh.
board.
Or like password.
Yeah. Kama Sutra.
Password.
Okay, so
Kama
probably Japanese origin question. mark?
No.
Kama Sutra.
Rory said, Kama Sutra season 2.
Oh my God. Karma Sutra would be such a good drag name, saying karma instead of karma.
Ooh, okay.
Karma Sutra. Oh my God.
Karma
Please.
Sutra.
Okay. I'm going to give you the hint that this comes from India. So it should be an Indian drag queen. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Continue. So Kama
Is it a
Sutra.
dance?
Mm.
Is it a sex
depends.
position?
Not a sex position.
It's the sex position. Not a sex. I don't know. I need more help here. Can I Google now?
No. I think this is fun.
I want to so bad.
I can't
I
believe
know,
I
okay,
know
wait.
something you don't know. That's very odd.
So it's not one sex position. It is a
Okay.
literal book that goes back to very like 1000 or something
Uh-huh.
like really early in human history in India. And it is a book of basically any sex position you could come up with.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like a very sex positive way, but it's like it's one of those things where it's just I don't know, people are like, read the Kama Sutra, and it's like her
Huh.
ability to be like, that was get out of your 3.
I have so many follow-up questions. Like, is it like how many pages is it?
A lot.
Or are they?
It's like 150 or something. Like it's pretty long. It's not like it's
I'm
like
gonna be doing
there's
some
3
Googling after this.
positions.
It is also a book about lust,
Lust,
and what does it say? Desire, seduction, the philosophy of love. It's not just positions, it's explaining what the positions are for and what they mean. And apparently it makes you last longer.
Yes.
Interesting.
If you do yoga, according to Sting.
And also there's people who tie that into the idea of tantric sex, because that also comes from the same area,
Gotcha.
I believe. But I asked Timmy if he knows what that is.
Hey babe, do you know what Kama Sutra is?
Yeah, it's all those sex positions.
I guess I'm like the only one in the entire world that has not heard of this.
It's a very, you're going to hear it all the time now that you've heard
Yeah.
it here. It's like one of those things that you're going to hear it, but it is one of, people reference it all the time.
Interesting.
It's funny.
There was
Anyway.
there was a book that I found. Oh my god, my mom's gonna kill me, but I don't care. I found a book in my mom's hope chest when I was like,
Oh no! Rule number 1: never go in the hope chest.
I didn't know that. I was like 6. I was 6. Yeah, I was like really. I was like 5 or 6, and I opened the book, and it's naked men and women with very hairy bushes. I mean, this is bush, everywhere bush. It's really bushy, and I'm a little girl. I'm like, what? You know, and like, what is this? And it's like a 70s book talking about the Kama Sutra, and these hippies are doing all of these positions, and you have to think of the guys are like, picture Lindsey Buckingham in the early days of Fleetwood Mac with that big curly, with his mustache and the fro. And then, you know, what's a female that was around? Maybe Linda Ronstadt or some shit. Somebody.
Oh my God. Stevie. Well, let's stick with Fleetwood Mac. Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks. Yeah. That's probably that. You know, I doubt anyone was, you know, smooth in the 70s.
I don't think so.
I came across, I don't know how I came. Anyway, that's how I got introduced. But I also, speaking of Bush, I came across a picture of Demi Moore from like 1980.
Oh,
I
boy.
don't know what I was researching, but it was like actors. And like, if you look up all you have to do is Google Demi Moore Bush in the the early 80s, and there's a nude picture of her with the biggest bush you've ever seen. It looks like JoJo down there. It's like she's
it's a merkin?
JoJo.
What if it's a merkin?
What's a merkin?
It's a like wig of pubic hair.
Oh,
And that's what it looks like. I'm like Googling it right now.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
That's like Dakota Fanning. Or
Ugh.
not Dakota Fanning, Dakota Johnson. So I'm pretty sure Dakota Fanning might be a bushy. I don't know. But Dakota Johnson apparently didn't have enough pubic hair for the 50 Shades of Grey movie. They had to give her a little muff toupee.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't give her a muffed hat. A muff hat.
Weird.
A little merkin.
A little
Interesting.
merkin. I wear a little muff toupee, whatever. Just a little sprinkle. So yeah. Did you look at the picture, Tyler?
Of Demi Moore? Yeah.
That's big.
It
Why don't
was
you put it on the
big,
screen?
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Well,
I
before she
mean-
finished her sentence, I was like, I can share my screen, but then
Listen,
once she said
you could
pornographic
probably
image, I
flash
was like,
it
oh,
really
probably
quick. It will have enough in that split second to last the rest.
not.
Wait, do we have the AI generated captions by chance on this YouTube? Because if
That's
so,
a question. I don't know.
not captions, but like the synopsis.
No,
I'm
not
gonna-
yet,
I'm
but
gonna
we
go.
will.
I'm
I
gonna
Like
just
say
like
the
to see the
description, yeah.
translate, not the translator. The what do they call it? The people with transcript when this is transcribed.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god.
Beth, have you watched any of Big Brother 26?
No.
No.
Nope.
Like what have you been hearing on like the Twitter streets as somebody who has not seen the season?
Okay. What I have heard is Angela's crazy.
Yep.
Tucker is if Zach Rance were a strategic player.
Okay. Yeah, that's
strategic.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
My lighting's not
That
good.
the girl who I'm sure is the Texas A&M girl is it Mackenzie spelled weird? Is that her?
Yeah.
She doesn't know where she is.
Uh-huh.
Not and it doesn't sound like it might be not for a lack of trying, but also is like what the hell? It seems to be kind of like a non-entity.
Yes, yeah.
Something about whoever just got eliminated would have been like an incredible villain in 2 weeks or something. I don't know. I don't know what that meant, but what's her name? B something. B
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
But that she would be like a villain, like a fun villain to root for.
She was compared to Michael Jackson a lot.
She literally looks like Michael Jackson. Anytime we had like a Brooklyn update, we'd go hee hee.
She's the
It's pretty bad, dude.
she's the one that reminds me of that woman who was in Dodgeball and Galaxy Quest, where she's like one of the aliens. And in Dodgeball, she's like the really buff, like other team woman. She's like, he reminds me of her. So I just keep thinking of.
Was she the Russian in Dodgeball with the teeth?
Yes. That's exactly who I think she looks like, but they've made her up to look ugly in that movie.
You know what? Angela was having a breakdown on Sunday night's episode. I think I'm gonna get and I was caught myself going, and are you okay? Hey, Angela, are you okay? Are you okay?
I love that. Oh yeah, did you guys see? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, and other than that, I think it sounds like Tucker's in some kind of an alliance that's.
There's like 20 of them.
Oh, are there?
There are like no like solid alliances this whole
See,
season.
I've been thinking that there's like a solid 6-person alliance or something, and that they're like picking off the other side of the house. That's what I thought that was.
Nothing sticks like more than like a week or two in that house.
Gotcha.
It's weird. It's bizarre.
Guys, we're gonna be in an alliance, and this is what we're gonna call it. Are you ready?
Yes.
The Alliance.
Boom.
We're all in 50 million other alliances, but this is the Alliance.
Or our alliance name could be named Karma Sutra.
We're the Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra.
Production would be like, no.
We need a fourth. We need a tra.
Karma Sutra. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that pretty much.
But the last thing I actually saw this on my feed, but it looked like Tucker had sex with a girl in the house.
Rubina.
Oh yeah, they banged all over that HOH room.
But
good for them.
They didn't have to worry about dryer sheets.
True. Oh God. Yeah.
What is this?
That was Jared in blue, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Was dryer sheets Jared in blue?
Yes.
Yeah, they use dryer sheets to clean up.
Oh, yes. That's right. Who am I thinking of? Wasn't there something weird with somebody else?
Like the sexual with Annalise.
Yeah. You know, you can do a lot of things with dryer sheets. You can also use a dryer sheet as a duster. If you have run out of rags or you're in a quick bind, get your scented dryer sheet, wipe down, don't wet it or anything, just wipe down your coffee table, whatever, your lampshades, whatever, and it not only makes it smell good, it just zhuzhes it up a little bit if you're in a bind.
Ooh.
Another use for dryer sheet, if you're in like a college dorm, and you want to smoke weed without getting caught, you take a water bottle, an empty water bottle, cut out like the bottom of it, and put a dryer sheet in the water bottle, and then like smoke a little bit, and then exhale through the water bottle. It goes through the dryer sheet and out the window, so it like masks the smell of
That
weed.
is too much work, Tyler. How do you not know what Kama Sutra is, but you know how to do that?
Listen, I mean, fair.
If your car stinks, I got a FYI for you. If you've got a candle that you've burned down to the wick, but there's still wax in the bottom and it's small enough and it's like hot outside in the summer, take that candle jar and just slide it under your passenger seat or your front seat or somewhere in your car and let the rest of the wax melt from the heat.
That's a good idea.
And it makes your car smell good. It's a good use for that. Anyway, what's going on with Zach Rants?
So Zach Rants made a video outlining that like because remember like him and Frankie were like a flirtmance in Big Brother 16, and like Zanky was like
They're a bromance who's like more than that, but they're less than that. And you're like,
yeah. Apparently like some Zanky fans have still been sending him and his family like death threats like all of these years later. So Zach Rants like made like a video like asking for help like collecting any like past like harassment that's like still like up online and stuff like that. I think he's trying to make like a legal case for himself.
You do it.
Yeah, good for him.
I'm curious if he's like going after like the people directly, or if he's going after like CBS production for not protecting their house guests, like anybody that comes out of reality TV afterwards. So I'm curious like what's going to be what he's collecting all this for, but it just be crazy. That's insane.
That's
People are
really
awful.
weird because I had to think about who he was for a second, and there's people that are still. I'm sorry, I don't mean that as shade, but you know what I'm saying. Like I
He hasn't been relevant.
That was the perfect usage of shade, Allison. I'm like so proud of you.
I look like Reese Witherspoon. You know, I try. I've learned some new words here lately.
Same.
But yeah, it's funny to me, not his situation, but in general, how during the Big Brother season, like you can guarantee from the end of June until the butt crack of September, we're going to have all of these Big Brother alumnus coming up from the bottom of the bowl to be relevant. And I'm not saying he's doing this to be relevant. He has a good case. I'm just saying you have all these people you haven't heard from in forever that all of a sudden, remember me? I was on Big Brother.
Oh my God, that's like Blue. Like she's all over TikTok, and I don't follow her, but like she keeps coming up on like recommended to follow, and it's just her doing like these cringy like it's like blind like rating like 1 out of 10. So she rates like things that would make me jealous of my man, or like stuff like that. Like really like gross, like immature, like.
That was her whole
You know what I
shtick
mean?
last year when she was joining the house, is that she's
I know,
a
but like
cringe
I'm like
Gen Z person. And if I remember correctly, you said, I love that we finally have a proper Gen Z person on a cast.
You're right. But it's like all like the negative, and of course like leave it up to casting for like picking like it's all the like terrible traits of Gen Z, like not like the young voter, like the like smart like hero that's gonna like save our country like 50 years from now. I have no faith in Blue. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
So what else is going on?
I've watched every. Never mind. No, I watched.
She's like, I can't start talking about true crime. She's
can't,
like,
because
no,
listen,
Allison, don't start.
I am research. Like Jackie and I are working on our true crime podcast show, and we're like really doing work. Like I'm doing.
I
more
can't
work.
wait. I cannot wait for this.
I'm putting more effort into this than any other shows we watch. It's so sad.
I love that.
but just because we never really do anything, it's about that kind of thing. So I watched a couple things she recommended, and then I was wrapping up my I'm spiraling down I'm revisiting a lot of my JonBenet Ramsey docs and my stuff I've done. And I just finished I think I have watched every true crime show there is on the Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson case. I just finished that last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And
when did that happen? I feel like it was like 20 years ago.
It was 2002. It was Christmas Eve 2002.
I'm sorry.
You want me to?
I said 20 years, and that was 21. That's pretty darn good.
There is the innocent. I'm amazed. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, the Innocence Project, LA Innocence Project, has picked up the Scott Peterson case, and they have brought up some interesting things that no one has thought about. And I've made me go, oh shit, now I've got to really rethink some of the things I've been thinking. However, they brought up there's all this DNA stuff that didn't get to all of this stuff. And this judge is like, there's 100 things. There's 25 things here that need to be DNA, that need to be tested and all of this stuff. And this judge is like, no, I'm only going to let you duct tape one thing. And that is the duct tape that was found around Lacey Peterson. And the look on Scott Peterson's face, just like the blood left his body. And my brain just goes, yeah, because that's probably the piece of evidence that's got his fingerprints on it.
Yeesh.
And I mean, it's just, it really it's kind of like made my mind kind of go, yes, it's tragic, this whole story. Like, I've even seen I've seen body photos. I've seen it all. I look at autopsy photos. I look at the shit. I've seen dead bodies.
Allison's like, I've snuck into the lab.
I've seen dead bodies. I've read reports. I don't care. I'm not ashamed.
Crawl through vents.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm the person to go to. Yeah, I can tell you what the body, everything, what was missing, what wasn't there. But it just kind of makes me think that in this judicial system, if, God forbid, something happened to me and all of the, first of all, there's no evidence. There's no physical evidence that points towards Scott Peterson. And I'll argue that to the fucking day I die, okay? There's no physical evidence. It just is. There's circumstantial evidence. So I would hope if I was murdered and everything, what they had pointed towards Chris, and it was also just circumstantial, and they had a rough patch of beach, this, and all the fights, whatever, fine. But if he didn't do it, he didn't do it. And I could understand, you have the and how it looks. But now with the Innocence Project, and I'm listening to all this stuff, I'm really going back and thinking about, there's so many cases where, like, I'll go all back to the West Memphis 3, y'all. I don't give a shit. The West Memphis 3, the little boys in West Memphis, Arkansas that were murdered in 1993, Damian Eccles, Jesse Miskelly, and shit, I can't remember the third guy's name. These young men were accused of murdering and sexually mutilating these 3 little third grade boys. They were different. They wore black. They listened to Metallica. They were the goth kid. They were different. They were cast out, high school dropout. They were different. And they were put on trial and they were convicted, and 2 of them life without parole, the other one death row. So over the years, all of this evidence has come up. And I mean, I never thought they were guilty. I started following this case when I was 17. I never thought they were guilty. Never. So they ended up in 2011 taking an Alford plea, which is basically, I did it, but I'm saying I did it, but I'm not admitting I did it because I want out of jail and I want a life. Okay. So they took an Alford plea. All 3 of the guys got out. They have God, I don't even know if you could have a normal life, but they're real big advocates for getting people, like even freaking Kim Kardashian got a law degree now, and she's helping doing all this stuff. It's amazing. But now I'm like obsessed with the DNA and all this stuff and where it points to now. one of the fathers of these little boys has taken back everything he's ever said about these guys and thinks they're innocent. So like there's no finger. I'm obsessed with circumstantial evidence. I will be till the day I die. But these cases just. This guy was a piece of shit. He cheated on his 8-month pregnant wife. And, she was 8.5 months pregnant. He cheated on her. He lied about all this stuff. And he has all his excuses now. And I'm sitting here going, of course he has all these excuses. He's been sitting in prison for 20 years. I could come up with some good stuff too. I got nothing but time in here. Anyone got ideas? Ideas. Throw them here. Something for the commissary. I get you a tattoo. Just all kinds of things. Anyway, I don't want to go into too long, but I'm just like, my mind I've been chasing like how many of these people really are innocent, and it just looks.
Oh yeah.
And there's not, that's just kind of like, I don't know.
It's why I truly believe that we should be changing the prison system, not in terms of like, humans are going to make mistakes, and yes, there should be more precautions in like the judicial process and such, obviously, but prisons, I mean, look at how like Scandinavia does it. It's very rehabilitative. Even I mean, if you are a very violent person, it's a very different environment, like and that kind of thing. But a lot of the times, even people like that, there are mental health disorders or just mental disabilities that have been either undiagnosed or untreated. And they're able to basically create, first of all, prison cells that are humane. So number one, you don't get just like the most uncomfortable bed ever. You have a normal effing bed. You have a bed. Okay. And the reason why the US can't do this shit is because we incarcerate people so much.
Everyone in prison. Everyone in prison.
It's the new Jim Crow, as everybody says, which I definitely am a huge proponent of. Yes, I believe that is like the best way to say that. It's the new form of slavery. Do you know how much things that are American made are made from free labor, essentially, in prisons? It's slavery. Yeah. And the thing is like, you're completely correct, Allison. There are people who are innocent and there are people who are guilty. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I would ever be happy about somebody who murdered somebody or raped somebody or whatever, having like this beautiful, comfortable life in prison. And like, I'm not saying that, but at least it's like, if you get treated like a less than human, you are going to act like a less than human, which is only going to make them treat you worse, which is going to make you act worse. And you're going to keep going down that path. And if you ever do leave, what are you going out into the world as?
Well, so have you heard about this? I heard about this on Brain Candy podcast. So they're experimenting with
hard-hitting journalism podcast.
Well, no, they always like recap like scholarly reviewed, peer reviewed, whatever the fuck studies,
peer reviewed,
like. Yeah, whatever. So they have this new like AI technology where they can simulate in a person's mind who has been sentenced to jail for them to serve like their like 10 to 15 year sentence, whatever, in 10 minutes of like unconsciousness. They're testing with giving them like a choice of, you can either serve your time like 10 to 15 years in a prison cell, whatever, or like we can put this like gadget on you and like simulate like 10 to 15 years of like memories of your jail sentence in like 10 minutes or whatever. So like, what do you guys think about that technology?
So they would create an experience that would feel real to them and would feel like it would last 10 to 15 years, but it would actually only be 10 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This sounds like an incredible movie, by the way. Like, I'd watch
I would love to see Tom Cruise pull this off.
I was thinking Brad Pitt, the other horrible father.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's
And they would
Okay.
have a choice. Like it's not
Why
they're
do they
not
get
like
a choice, though? I think it should be
Why-
based on the crime. I think the
Because-
severity of the crime should determine whether or not you get to do that and
well,
how
I
long
think
you get.
morally, like you should always have a right to reserve like whether your memories are real or implanted, I guess. Is like a new like moral ethical question
Mhm.
that's coming up with all this AI stuff.
Well, whatever they did was not moral or ethical to get there. And I'm talking
True.
about if they rape children and
Oh,
do
of course,
this
yeah.
horrible stuff. I don't think you should get it in 10 minutes. I think you should get it for 20 years.
I think if you're actually a threat to society, that doesn't actually help the rehabilitation portion, unless part of that technology is trying to implant memories that you could like
Well, I think that is
Maybe
what it is.
think were
Rehabilitate
real. You
Yeah,
know?
like
therapy
that is what it is. It's like it's trying to
Oh, okay.
instill like rehabilitated like memories into you or whatever.
How would they test this on people?
I don't know. I don't know too many details. I was like,
I feel
not
like
listening
if
to the
they ever
story.
tested
But it's
it,
interesting. I don't know.
I would love for them to be like, Beth, could you imagine? But also, how insane would you sound to people? Like you were like, listen, I
just got out of the joint.
I had the best 10 years of my life. It was over the course of the next 10 years,
You did a
but they
dime?
were fucking awesome. I got married and I went on this trip and I won the lottery and everybody just was really nice to me and I grew as an individual and blah, blah, blah. And now then you come back and you're like, but none of that was real.
Yeah.
Imagine how much that would fuck with your mind.
Okay, there's examples of this, and Rory brought it up in the chat. There's the movie Total Recall.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about the Colin Farrell, Jessica Biel remake. I'm talking about the real Arnold Schwarzenegger 1990 epic classic with some of the shittiest special effects you've ever seen. But it blew our minds back then. 1990 Total Recall. It touched on similar. Also, there is a movie that a lot of people it's kind of it was made in 1995 and it has a young Juliette Lewis, Ray Fiennes is in it, and Angela Bassett, and Vincent D'Onofrio is in it as well. It's called Strange Days.
Yes.
That is a really good example because Ray Fiennes is a dealer and he puts this squid-like thing on your head and you buy, I forget what they call them, memories or whatever. You can buy memories or you can be someone. It just depends on what you're feeling that day. And they actually figure out a murder because two people are wearing the thing. You're jacked into each other. Doesn't sound right, but you're jacked in and you can see each other and feel each other and you witness the murder. Anyway, Total Recall's it. But my big thing that I've kind of had a real, like, God, I've had a debate with the Minority Report. Okay. The Tom Cruise 2002 film Minority Report, where 3 young people can get see the future of murder and crime and stuff like that. And they have a pre-crimes unit that of course Tom Cruise is head of. And you arrest people and put them in prison before they actually commit the crime. And they show this, they're arresting this guy that's going to murder his wife and he's freaking out going, but I didn't do it. But you were thinking that you did it in the future. That hasn't happened. I've always I thought that was an interesting concept because this little pinball would come down this little hamster hole thing and wheel and spit out and it's the ball, and they put it in the slot and it shows the memory of what's about to happen, and they have to find the person. Like Tom Cruise is like Tony Stark in his freaking lab, and he's got glasses on and gloves. He's like, and he's looking into stuff and he's zooming in and all, and he can find the house and all that. Because I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So you're telling me in 2047, with all the technology, you can see the future. You're having to zoom in on some grainy ass video footage from a pinball to find an address? No, that's always kind of burned my ass. But anyway, it just
This was a lot for me to try to process high because I'm sitting here and I was like,
sorry.
there was the hamster hole that got me for a bit. And then there was the zoom, 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 and the Tony Stark. And I was like, wait, what? But I did have this thought a long time ago. And I've obviously said that I think it's way too inhumane. But in the way that there are like people who will go through like the most intense training for the military to be like Navy SEALs or whatever, right? And will put themselves through things to toughen their, pain responses and, strength and I'm up and all these things, right? I was thinking, what if we had like doctors who if we found the technology to be able to simulate the exact pain by hooking this up to somebody, to that doctor, so they could feel it, so they could help make a diagnosis. So they can feel exactly what the nerves are of their patient, but they would feel it's not actually real for them, but they would feel it and they could feel it in their body where it's happening to their patient.
Yeah.
So this would be some people that they would sign up to be this kind of profession, but then that would help them as a diagnostician or with other doctors. You wouldn't have, it's not like you'd come in and be like, I have a pain in my foot and it feels like this. Like you wouldn't do that to them. It would be for people who were like going to be having probably some severe pain, or they don't know where something is, or it's a long-term case or whatever the case is. I just thought like, I wonder if anybody would sign up for that. Like if they were a doctor, but they would be paid a shit ton of money to do it.
Oh my God, y'all. Donald Trump is in our chat. I don't know why. I just looked up and saw that.
The fact it says sus too.
Can you imagine if like the actual Donald Trump was one of our like X amount of
Take the clout. I'll take it. Listen, I'll do anything at this point to give you. Hey, look, here's the thing. You just described being jacked in from Strange Days, because if you could get jacked into each other and feel what the other person is feeling, you could better identify the pain and the problem and the illness. I also think that would be a very good idea for kids who want to fuck around with drugs and be stupid. Cool and stuff. And, I think it would be, this is what you're going to feel like.
I think that they should do that for, you should be able to try out different women. Well, that sounds awful. who are giving birth. So like if you're considering having a child or something.
You want to have a vaginal birth without try this.
This is what it felt like for this person. And then this is what it felt like for this person and this person. And that's a part of sex ed. Have fun.
I think we need to take that to the Republicans in Senate who voted against Roe v. Wade and let them feel what it's like to have a child and not have any means, because you guys want to overturn something and then not offer the help for these people. See what that's like. That would be awesome. I think it would be good if we could walk in someone else's shoes. You want to judge me. You want to tell me what I should and should have, could have, would have. Here, this was my, and you have that feeling and have that sensation. Yeah. I think it would change the perspective of a lot of things that, I think the root of what we're all talking about here is the world is changing. Everything is changing, DNA and all of this fiber, all of this stuff that they can test now is a lot of people are found innocent and exonerated and they're let out of prison, but they're not being compensated. They're not it's not our fault. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that technology back then. Well, your whole life's ruined. You're this, that, you've lost everything. So, but yeah, I've always thought that I could argue any day. If I'm innocent, I'll argue till I don't give a shit. I'll give you the DNA. I'll give you a pluck of hair from, you want a DNA sample from I get hair from my head, my nose, my butt, my butt.
Not where I thought you were going to go butt. Okay, there we go. DNA from mom. Butt.
But yeah,
silly.
We could write like a whole season of Black Mirror episodes with like this kind of stuff.
Have you seen the Black Mirror with Josh Hartnett in it?
I've never seen Black Mirror.
I've never seen Black Mirror either, but I think I'd really like it.
You know what I want to watch? I want to watch Severance. I feel like I would really like that show.
You know what? I've had a lot of people bring that. Allison, you've never seen Severance? No.
Yeah, I've
And
never
remember,
seen it.
you got on him because I'd never seen White Lotus. Now I'm obsessed
Mhm.
with it.
Yeah. Oh, that shit. I cannot wait for season 3. of that.
Presumed Innocent, Apple TV. I've said it a million times. Just get past Jake Gyllenhaal's weird, crazy eyes because you're going to get a lot of this. Okay, but listen, it's where he does take his shirt off quite a few times. So just watch it. It's good. Okay.
Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon.
That's
I
just wrapped up.
wanted to say something about a show that I talk about.
Yeah, that's that just wrapped up what season 2 of House of the Dragon. You know what I
Mhm.
get? You know what show I get that confused with? God, don't hate me. The Lord of the Rings spinoff show that comes on Prime Video. What is that?
Yeah,
I get those two shows
it's
confused.
supposed to be actually pretty good.
I've never seen.
I haven't seen it, but
They're making another animated movie out of the Lord of the Rings. I'm
I
like,
saw that.
how many of these gosh damn movies are they going to make? At least Jaws stopped at 4.
Well, let's be honest. They wrote an entire language, and it's a whole bunch of shit.
Mary Judah said Severance is like Gossip Girl, right? Just rich white people getting away with murder. No, I think she's thinking of Industry, which I watched like the first
Oh, I want to
4
watch.
episodes of.
Is it good?
It's okay. Like it reminds me of Skins a little bit, which is like I love Skins, that show, but it's like not as edgy as Skins because like it still takes place in like a corporate office building, and like I just don't like 9 to 5 white collar like corporate drama like that. Like I don't know, like it's hard for me to get into. I like it when they're out of the office basically. But it takes so much of it takes place of like I don't know, like stocks and like shit like that, and I'm like I really don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I like the dark comedy of it that I've seen in little clips and stuff. Looks right up.
Mm-hmm. But I think Kit Harington from Game of Thrones is in it. I think.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Getting that HBO.
It's called Industry.
paycheck.
Oh, wait a minute.
I saw him when I was in London and when I studied abroad before anything.
Oh, yeah?
became famous. I saw him in a show.
Oh, cool.
Is he
Yeah,
like
sorry.
is he a little dude or is he actually a tall guy? or what?
He's not super tall for his.
Okay.
I would say he's probably like 5'9".
He's like a Tom Cruise munchkin.
Tom Cruise is shorter than 5'9".
How tall is Tom Cruise?
I feel like he's 5'6", 5'5".
I can tell you
5'7".
that I know people in the Memphis movie industry. I don't mean to brag, but I will. Who worked on The Firm, the 1993 classic, shot in Memphis, about Memphis, called The Firm. He's a lawyer. Anyway, put lifts in his shoes. They had to put tiny lifts in his shoes because he is about 5'6", maybe. My brother's 5'6", but we're tinies. And we own it. We don't give a shit. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm not allowed to talk about my size anymore.
I did see The Outsiders on Sunday.
Is it good?
It was really good.
What is
What
that?
did I say he was? That's so funny.
5'8".
There you go.
I was like, what? He's like 5'8", 5'9".
And that's perfect. Did you know that smaller guys like that love girls like me because we make them feel tall?
I can see that.
I dated some shorter dudes and they were like, oh my God, you make me feel like a giant. And I'm like, oh.
I don't really care about height unless you're so obsessed with it that it's always something. In the same way that I'm sure nobody would want to date me if I was only talking about my weight.
Yeah. I'm just going to say for me, I do care about height because I'm 4'11" and I am not. I'm not trying to date Danny DeVito. Nothing against Danny DeVito or Big Ed from I don't want to. I would end up with Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance, and I'm not going there.
In reverse, like my first boyfriend in college was 6'3", and that was like his height was like my least favorite thing about him. It was
I dated
not.
a football player. I
Yeah.
dated a football player in high school, 6'5", and we did the dirty.
I think, if I had a preference,
That's a
I think
big
I'd
height
care for
difference.
someone who is around my height, given a few inches taller and a few inches shorter. Like literally come up to here or here.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at.
I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's my
saying.
preference. But honestly, if I like you for all the other reasons, it's likely not going to be something that I fixate on, like, ooh, but he's too tall or too short or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I
it
had a
would be
guy-
something that's maybe like you said, like maybe like a least favorite thing.
A guy crushed me once, and when I was like 15, that I really had a crush on, and we were friends, and we just, and one day, just I think one of our other friends told him that I had a big crush on him, and I really liked him, and young guys can be such dicks. He just turns around and goes, just out of nowhere, for everyone, oh, and I'm never gonna date you because you're too short. I just think you should know that, and turn around and I'm like,
Damn, that's cold.
that's not cool ass shit.
Damn.
Yeah,
It wasn't even like part of the conversation.
no, that's my life. Let me tell you, but let's walk down the hallway of Allison's life real quick. It's constantly random fucking comments and actions like that have created all that you see. I will be minding my own business, and I get a fucking phone call. I get someone coming up to me. It's in the hallway of Allison's life. Yep. Guess what? I'm gonna wipe dog shit all over your life and expect you to clean it up.
And then get it in the vacuum so the
Yeah,
fumes go everywhere.
That's what I'm
What
gonna
a
do.
good bookend.
Take zero responsibility for it. And I'm just gonna validate my feelings.
I got hot.
I was gonna ask, are you like sunburned? Like you're
Yeah.
very like red.
Yeah. I'll share my fun little adventure this
Where
weekend.
are you?
What?
Where are you, by the way?
I'm up at my college, and I'm staying in the like remote staffer house that they maintain for those of us who are staff members who come back to campus.
So those are some nice bedposts.
Yeah, this used to be a house, and then
Really?
they donated everything here.
Just went right over it.
I don't get what you're saying.
Bedposts.
They're nice
Wow.
and sturdy.
There's literally no one up there. So
But to complete my thought, The Outsiders was really good.
was it?
It was. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is still like really good in my rating. I don't think I would want to see it again. Like it doesn't have like any replay value for me, but I really enjoyed like going into it totally blind. Like I've never seen the movie, I've never read the book. Like I knew nothing about like the story. So it was really good to just like be totally surprised like the whole way through. But the set was great. Like the choreography was awesome and like all the special effects and everything. Yeah, it was a really good show.
I can't get over that you have not seen Tom Cruise. All the come on, Rob Lowe,
You don't.
Patrick Swayze. All
I
these
haven't even
people.
heard of The Outsiders until like it won like the Tony for Best Musical.
Dude, you have not lived until you have watched the 1983 Outsiders with C. Thomas Howell in that shitty blonde wig. Listen,
There
this is when
was a shitty blonde wig in
Yes.
this in the musical too.
this was pre-dental work on Tom Cruise too. He's got
It
that-
sure was.
It's got that dangler.
Oh, and then
They call
in
it corn
addition,
tooth.
Martin Sheen's
Emilio
son.
Estevez.
yes, I mean star-studded fucking cast.
Liev Garrett.
It is.
From the
They are
70s.
all hot.
Diane
They're
Lane.
wearing tight 80s jeans with like
Yeah.
like but like they're like not in the 80s. It's like it's
Macho.
the 50s, but they're like wearing tight like jeans with
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
leather
yeah.
jackets, but they're also like muscly and they're dirty or whatever. And you're like, yeah. Except for the blonde wig dude, but
Yeah, there was a bad blonde wig in the musical too.
Okay, well, I'm glad they did not
The
do us
socials.
dirty on that because
Yeah.
that is a staple
Yeah.
oh yeah.
in the movie. Mary Duda 444 says that we need to watch Little Women, the reality show. It's superior to the Real Housewives. Okay,
Oh, I've
what is
heard
that?
It's
I haven't
it's
heard of
Real
this show.
Housewives, except for it's little people who are women living in LA. So it's like it's little people who are like friends and rivals and all that kind of stuff. In, like, LA. It's and what you're gonna love, Allison, is 1 year for RuPaul's Drag Race, the makeover challenge was they all got paired with one of the cast members from. They had to make them over, and then they had to do. They all had to have a different theme, but they all had to do it within the theme where they created an outfit so they matched each other. So it was a construction challenge and a makeover challenge in the Wizard of Oz. What is in the Wizard of Oz?
Munchkins?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that word?
Well, because that is what they were in the thing. Yes. I don't know who the fuck at World of Wonder was like, you know what would be fucking awesome is if we took little people and like we're trying to give them a platform, but we do it a Wizard of Oz theme where literally had little people.
We a fly on the wall of that meeting. The what?
But you know
did you
what?
say?
I don't think anybody was actually the Munchkins. Like they were like Dorothy and an outfit inspired
It's
by
the
Dorothy.
Wizard of Oz,
outfit,
though.
the
Think
Tin Man,
about
all
it.
that stuff. So like
Listen,
on the nose a little.
I watch a lot of shows on the TLC, okay? And my husband's like, what the fuck are you watching now? And I just finished a show and I was walking out of the room and he was walking through the living room and it says, next up on Seven Little Johnsons, there is a show about a little person family. And it's called Seven Little Johnsons. And he's just like, can you please turn it off? Like, I can't, like, we used to watch Little People Big World. I don't know if that was like one of the big shows on, it was one of the first reality shows.
Yeah.
I remember
besides
that.
American Shopper on TLC. And it was actually really good. Now it's kind of like, I don't know what's going on. But now they got the Seven Little Johnsons. And yeah, there's a documentary. I've talked about it before. There's actually two.
Who died? Who was murdered?
I think they're not murdered, but it's I can't
Who's
remember.
missing?
There's a documentary on YouTube you can look up about the little people from, and I'm sorry if I'm not being PC. I don't know. I am,
Little People's the correct term.
because I am 4'11", but I am not a little person.
Right. So it is the lead. I could be very wrong. So if I am wrong, please correct me if you know better. But little people is the politically correct term. And they suffer from dwarfism.
Yes.
So that is the right term, but don't call people dwarfs. That is absolutely inhumane. And
I'm gonna say the name of a documentary, and this is just the title.
We hear you.
Okay, and this is the only way you're going to be able to find it. I don't know how else. It's called Dwarves and Unfairy Tale.
Oh no.
It's about 20 years old. Okay, people, don't forget.
Okay, well there you go.
And it's about little people and how they live their lives and stuff. And like there was a guy on the show that was 4'11", and I got ideas on how to reach shit from him. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I could be doing it. But anyway, like, and then there is real, but no, it's eye-opening. It really shows you, yes, they have struggles and it's hard, and they can't do, but how they make their life, it's actually a really good document. And then if you're ever curious about that sort of thing, I know the title's shit, but come on, it was the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then you've got, and I don't know what it's called, but it's about the little people who play the Munchkins in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah.
Like
I would be interested.
90% of them became drunks and died, and it was terrible. They were treated like just terrible. They were discarded. They were just thrown out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because they didn't matter. It was really sad. So
the town that I moved that I lived in the Syracuse area is called Chittenango, and that's where the author of The Wizard of Oz, the book from the 1800s,
Oh, cool.
was born. And I'm not sure if he lived there when he wrote the books or whatever, but all of the sidewalks in the downtown area are yellow brick. And every year they have Oz Fest. And for years and years and years and years while he was alive, the actor who played the mayor of Munchkin Land, is it Land?
Yeah.
Munchkin
Yeah.
Land, would
Yeah,
come
I would know
and
that.
be like the grand MC for
Oh,
the
that's
parade
cool.
every single year. And I think for a long
That's
time
cute.
there were other actors who were from the movie who would come, mostly I think Munchkin actors, but pretty cool. But yeah. So there's like puns that are Oz themed in some of the like shops and such.
That's cool. I like
You
that.
know, okay, I'm obsessed with abandoned buildings and stuff. Like I could spend hours on the internet looking at abandoned malls and abandoned Six Flags amusement parks and all this stuff. There is a YouTube channel where this guy documents the history of these amusement parks and stuff, and how they were at the height of their career and how they was disbanded and where those rides are now and all this stuff. Anyway, there was a Wizard of Oz amusement park. Google it, look it up. It didn't last very long, but if you look at the abandoned pictures, it's a freaking yellow brick road. And it just looks awesome.
Huh.
So
Have you ever seen the photos of what the old Six Flags in New Orleans looks now?
yes, I've seen
After
that.
Katrina?
Yes, and I've seen this is also another thing you could look up. If you look up on YouTube, Six Flags New Orleans abandoned footage,
Mhm.
people break in to this and you see just all kinds of crazy shit. If you
I would never break into that place for multiple reasons. Number one, we were just there, and it is absolutely considered to be one of the, if not the most haunted city
that's the
in the
voodoo
country.
capital of the
Number
planet.
one. Number two, fucking alligators and snakes and all that fucking shit from everything being overgrown and nature taking it back. You have no idea what is sitting in any of those things. Absolutely the fuck not. Number three, I'm a very sensitive person, and I think I'd get there and I would literally be like, holy shit, the amount of people who like died during Katrina and like lost their homes. And like, I came back, so Katrina happened in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I went to New Orleans in 2009, and they were still all the watermarks on the buildings.
Damn.
I have family that live in Jefferson Parish and in New Orleans, and it was so bad. My husband works for a bank, and back in 2005, he was also part of the the disaster relief, disaster discovery and relief, or whatever they call it. Whenever there was a disaster of some kind, they were brought in to go into these branches and banks to recover hard drives and whatever was salvageable. They had to put in trucks and do all this stuff. And he was on the road to New Orleans. He was on the ground there. Well, not on the ground. He was floating. It was so bad.
Yeah.
They let him in, like this. These were groups of people that they let in
Mhm.
Right.
New Orleans because they were not letting everyone in.
Everybody.
So he looks like he's cooking meth in Breaking Bad. Like literally the
Wow.
funk on his clothes was so bad. He was gone 1 week and he came home. The clothes were so they had this stench. It was so bad. He had to take them off in the garage, put them in a garbage bag, tie the garbage bag, had to start the washing machine and untie the bag, just throw the clothes and shut the door. It was so bad. But, Chris does photography, back when he was younger, and he has a book. I'll have to show y'all sometime to get it out. It takes me, but he has a scrapbook of real pictures he took with a 35mm camera of New Orleans during that time. Nothing disrespectful. There were people that were taking pictures of things that they shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, it's history,
He cringes when he talks about it, but he could tell you stories about helping turn a casket back over out of respect for, and them trying to keep a bot. They couldn't touch anything, but in that moment they had to kind of turn it over. And they had to. He's like, Allison, I was driving down such and such, and there was a big gigantic thing on the side of the road, and I didn't know what it was, and it was a dead bloated body that had washed up.
Wow.
And the things that he saw, he still doesn't really talk about that much, but he's like, it was a war zone. You could smell that stadium that all those people were in. He said, you could smell it from the freaking interstate or wherever. He's like, it was so filthy and disgusting. Well, hi, speaking of filthy, you could just
Still Jewish.
But he spent, what was that, August of 2000? I think it was what?
It happened in 2005.
Yeah, 2005. He was there, went back and forth. He came back that first week. Then he was gone for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I think this went on till October. But, you'd be shocked, people. It doesn't matter if there's a hurricane or what. People still gonna try to steal shit. He said people were stealing TVs and doing all kinds of. He's like, what are you gonna plug it into? Right?
Fair.
Just really. But that's kind of something he's experienced with what he does, and he said he would never. There are people that, and I don't know what they recovered from Ground Zero that had to kind of sift through and see what kind of stuff they could find like that. There are people that are called in to do that, and it's not. If there was a disaster somewhere else, he would be one of the guys that goes. So, yeah.
Well, when we went to the 9/11 museum, obviously it's like super powerful, and you have like those moments and such. And I don't know when it was, and I can't remember if it was you or somebody else who I went to the 9/11 museum with, but somebody told me my favorite thing about New York was the 9/11 museum, and that phrasing just felt really weird.
That was not me.
Okay, so I think it was you or somebody else who was like, my favorite thing. Like no, that's not what they said. They said, I think I had the most fun at the 9/11 museum. That's what it was. And I don't remember why, but I just remember being like, you had fun?
Now just visualizing her in the museum being like, woohoo! I'm like,
so much fun.
I just want to point out, you guys experience single-handedly how easy it is to lose me in a crowd because I'm so small.
Oh yeah,
I can't see over
but
people.
It is also easy to find you in a crowd because you're just going to go.
Yeah, I don't care. I was respectful though when I was in the 9/11 museums. But I will fight my way to the front so I can freaking see. I don't care.
The worst part where we thought we lost you for life was when we first entered the actual part of the exhibit where they go through the entire timeline and it weaves throughout the thing. When you first go in, everybody's standing in front of all the TVs that are playing the various different broadcasts. By the way, one of the most powerful, most beautiful museums that are so haunting, poorly designed and executed in that entry point there, because everybody wants to sit there and watch everything, and it holds up the entire line, and then everybody just doesn't move, and then all of a sudden you get to about we're at like 1 p.m. on that day, and I think we can move it along now. Like it's anyway, but fantastic museum. If you haven't gone and you're going to New York City, you need to go
Mhm.
to the 9/11 museum.
It, I hate to use the word beautiful, but
Look at his ear. His ear was like
yeah, he's like, Mom, not a good
hitting you in
word.
the face. Look at that.
I'm a little touched by spirits. Okay. I was overwhelmed a little bit when I was in there. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
Especially when we were in the area, you weren't allowed to take pictures with the pic, and I kind of pointed out to you guys, hey, all these pictures, you notice what I'm noticing? You're like, what? These are not selfies, these are real pictures. Like
Mhm.
not one of those was a selfie. This was back a
Mhm.
different date. It's just really, and I'm looking at all this and I could feel like it's overwhelming. It's like when I have those feelings, it's like a pressure on my chest. And I got to the part where they had the father, that died. He was the first. He was what do they call it? Victim number one, or
Mm.
he was a priest, right?
Yeah,
Gosh,
so
Father Flannery.
so he was the reverend for the fire department or something like
Yeah,
that. And he had been injured and they were carrying him or somebody else
yeah.
out, and they knew exactly where it was when the building collapsed or
Hmm.
something like that. Like they all knew where he was in
Mhm.
particular. And so they count him the first victim,
I'd
even
held
though clearly the people would have been passed before.
Right. At that point, I'd held it in as long as I could, but when I got to that point and knowing what his mission was and what he was doing was so
Mhm.
selfless.
Mhm.
And I wish more people were able to meet man of God like him. It would
Mhm.
definitely change the way they see the message.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's been twisted by so many people disguised. Oh, wolves in sheep's clothing. We won't go there too much, but I was overwhelmed with emotion when I got to that part. I think I started crying because I couldn't take it. I was just like, this is a lot. And, there's moments in that museum where you can pick up a phone and listen
Hear
to
the
the
listeners.
final phone
Yeah.
messages. It's just, it's a lot. And I think, like you guys, I lived through that day. I was at work. I was a wire transfer specialist. The Fed shut down. We couldn't
Mm.
get through. We couldn't get we didn't know what was going on. And we got a call and they told us, this is every day, y'all. He's so jealous of the kids.
He's right up
Yeah.
in
This
your
is us.
neck.
This is us, my baby. We got a call saying the tower's down in New York. We're stopping everything. We're halting everything right now. Just sit still. And I'm like, what does that mean? The what? I was not really that familiar with the Twin Towers because I've never been to New
Mhm.
York and I
Mhm.
knew what they were. But I didn't really know. So I didn't really know what was going on. And it wasn't until we got a TV in there and we saw what was happening that it was like, oh my God.
Mm.
And, my son was he was a month to the day shy of turning 5
Mm.
when that happened. And you think little kids don't hear things or see things or notice, but they do. I'm telling you. And
I was
I
in
just,
5th grade and I remember like
yeah.
photographically like every
Oh,
part of that day.
That was 8th grade.
I
Yeah.
picked up Jacob from pre-K. I think, yeah, because he was in pre-K. And we were at a red light and a plane. This is when they were letting planes back out. And a plane went out. He took his seatbelt off and dove into the floor of the car because he thought that it was going to hurt us. He
Mm.
thought this plane's going to hurt us, mommy. Is he going to hurt us? And it just took my breath away because I didn't really ever think this kid's 5, almost 5. He doesn't know. No, they do.
Conceptualizing that like a
They do.
5-year-old
Yeah,
conceptualizing
and to
that.
hear that from the mouth of a baby
Yeah.
and being that scared, just it really kind of, and being in the actual standing where this happened, it changes you. It really, like,
Yeah.
Chris was like, I couldn't stop watching these 9/11 documentaries last year because this was the first time I was experiencing it after being there.
Yeah.
So I had a completely new perspective and way of looking at it. So seeing and all this stuff is just, it was really different for me this time around. Wow, what a drab cast this has turned into. Should we talk about the Titanic sinking, Pearl Harbor, Lewis, anything else? Children drowning in mines.
I was gonna say,
Is that a thing?
I know I'm gonna be playing some Overwatch later, probably with Beth if she's
I
down
don't
for
have.
that.
I
Oh
don't.
no!
I don't have any ability here.
Well, I was gonna say, Allison, you should like join us on voice chat or something so we can keep this party rolling.
Oh, I want to answer B Bean real quick. Why not just throw the clothes away when Chris came home? Because we ended up this is terrible. We ended up going to Kmart and getting clothes off the clearance rack, jeans
Oh yeah,
and shirts and stuff like that. And he just
wore those over there. And
wore those, and yeah, he came home and we had a robe in the hall, and he would just put that on when he came in the door because nobody wants to see him naked. I mean, I don't want to see him naked, but you know what I'm saying? Like my child was like 9.
I
I
don't
was like,
want to see you naked.
Yeah,
I know we're married, but
yeah,
no.
we're the honeymoon's ever.
Sounds like a married couple.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's you'd be it's funny because you never know who you're going to meet and what part of history they have had a part in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stories my husband could tell you. My father was at World Trade Center a month before the planes hit. I mean, there's
the failed Times Square bombing in 2010.
Yeah.
My parents were okay. Long story short, my dad sat on in an upstate New York area defense panel that included various different kinds of administrators across, right? So he got to go to Fort Drum and he'd have to sit on these like security kind of things for understanding how to. That's another. Okay. So he's on this military panel thing. Okay. And they're talking about how they use CCTV to track terrorists and such. And they said, like, this is the technology we used or whatever. My dad goes, oh, yeah, and they said that for the training, they use like various real life things. My dad's like, oh, that's so interesting. If you ever do that, I was in Times Square when the bombing happened. And this guy worked in or was going to happen, which is true. And both my parents were there. They were having cheesecake at Junior's Cheesecake, which was all of a half block away from where the car was.
Yeah.
Outside in the little outside seating area. And so this guy who was in the military was like, oh, that's interesting or whatever. So then the guy went to a training, and that's exactly the one that they used for, training purposes. And they assigned everybody to be like, I want to see every one of his movements without breaking. Like there can't be more than like a split second split between the different cameras or whatever. So it can't be any black that happens on the screen. You have to show me the continuous motion of him from this time to this time. And it was like a few hours. And they said, okay, great. Everybody did that. And then they went, okay, now anybody happen to know other people who were in Times Square at that moment? And this guy goes, I sit on this panel with this high school principal. He says he was there with his senior class trip and that he and his wife and a couple of the teachers were sitting outside of Junior's eating cheesecake. They go, okay. So they zoom right into Junior's, go, are these them? Yep, that's the 4 of them. They said, great, those are going to be your 4 terrorists. Now we want you to pretend like they're the terrorists and track all of their movements. And so this guy comes back to the next meeting and goes to my dad and said, I will believe everything you ever say because exactly what you said. He goes, and here's the worst part. My dad made eye contact with the terrorist.
Oh my God.
And kind of like nodded his head a little bit, like saying hello to him. So my dad unknowingly said hello as a very nice man to the fucking terrorists who tried to blow up Times Square.
I think I read a statistic like the average person that lives in New York City walks by 10 murderers a year without knowing.
I'm sure.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know what? Every time I'm driving somewhere and it's on a really sketchy road and we're going somewhere and I see these like random little storage houses and I just think about the movie Room. And I'm just like, I wonder if there's a young woman in
Oh
there.
yeah.
You know, like because that's where my mind
Mhm.
kind of goes. But yeah, there was something I was gonna say. Yeah, just we should do a show about history and what, stuff because,
The
I was
connections to things.
yeah, because I was thinking about oh, I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to the private chat.
No, you good. You good.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, let's wrap it up. Sorry.
We're like, Allison, hurry the F up.
I'm sorry, dude. I
No,
was just
you're
gonna
good.
say, I mean, it's not a big deal. All of the policemen that are being charged for the Tyree Nichols beating last year in Memphis are now pleading out and doing all this stuff for lighter sentences and all this. And I was thinking about how the night that tape was released, the city was pretty much on lockdown because there were people. When I tell you there were army, when I thought we were on the interstate going this way, and there was army tanks and Hummers going this way. Like they were coming. They were getting ready.
That's
And
probably such a visual. Like I would
yeah,
never forget seeing something like that.
yeah, it's not the first time I've seen it, but anyway, yeah.
I want to get back to Mary Duda just here for a second because I
Please.
scrolled way back up. I have the book right here. I'm rereading it. I like House of the Dragon, and I consider it a completely different entity because
Is it different from the show?
they've totally completely ruined the nuance of the blacks versus the greens. And in the show, they absolutely say like the blacks are the good people, and the greens are the bad people. But in the book, the blacks are not as good as they're coming off as, and the greens have way more intricate good points to their side of things. So, and they're not evil. So, like, it's just one of those things. It's just anyway.
Yeah.
I just realized I hadn't been reading the chat the entire time, but I was going back through.
Listen, hey, Mary Duda, we welcome all Oleana Tyrell. Am I saying that right?
Elena, yeah, Elena.
We do. But no, real quick, I'm done. But I was just saying is, that's one of those moments where you're gonna. I think even in that moment, we were all kind of all sitting there. I think Tyler, you watched it with me in the beginning. We were. Wow, this is kind of, historical a little bit, a moment in history because there are not a lot of people I hate to say it, of the same color held accountable for doing violence against one another when Memphis is such a racially sensitive city. It's, it's everywhere you go. And these people, fuck, that's terrible. I didn't mean it the way it just sounded, but you know what I mean? Like it just pained me to see an African-American man screaming for his mother being beat for fucking no reason. I'll say it till the day I die. I don't give a shit. By another African-American man. It's like, what are you fucking doing? It was terrible, and it carries such a weight around here. So it's not the same as 9/11. It's not the same as, everybody's different. I don't live in New Orleans. I don't live in New York, but I do live in a city where Martin Luther King was taken from us, and the Tyree Nichols beating happened, and a bunch of other things. And I feel that heaviness more than you guys would.
Oh yeah.
Not here. If I were in New York City and I passed by Ground Zero, the museum, I would feel that every day.
Yeah.
If I was in New Orleans, I would think about flood and fucking Katrina every day.
Yeah.
So it's just everyone's history is different, and you feel different things. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with shit. I'm painting these days, and I'm going to do a tutorial.
Love it. I can't wait. Y'all should make sure that you're following Allison on Instagram and TikTok because her content is literally the best.
It is.
So
I let my 6-month-old grandson eat my face today. So we reenacted the movie Aliens and 1986 Aliens, and I am currently looking for Aliens music to put in the fucking background because I can't make a video without music. And if anyone has any advice on where I can find a free tune app, please put it in the comments. I'm currently working on a remix of me singing
God.
Happy Birthday.
Oh boy, a gift for us all.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to be back on Thursday to recap the next live eviction for Big Brother 26. And next week, we'll be back to normal with our live feed update shenanigans.
This is never going to be normal again.
Yeah, no. But, yeah. All right. Everybody have a good rest of your night. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye.